Welcome to the Good Morning from the Chicken Coop podcast with Kim Johnson, your creative strategist and master mindset coach. Filled with inspiration, distinctions, perspectives, and possibilities, we help you to cultivate a mindset that leads you to create the best version of yourself you could ever imagine. Join Kim every morning from one of her favorite happy places, her chicken coop, along with all her chickens.
Hey everybody, good morning from the chicken coop. This is a little bit of a rainy morning out here. All the birds are singing, lots of noises out here this morning, and girls laying eggs, which is always a great thing. So today we are going to talk about unconscious creation versus conscious creation. So most of us move around in very automatic patterns of our days and our emotions and what's happening, and we are just on autopilot. I hear clients say it all the time. I'm just on autopilot. I'm just doing my to-do list. I'm just running through the motions. And that leads to unconscious creation, meaning we are not thinking, intending, putting the energy and the emotion behind what we want to have happen as much as we are just going through the motions. The dangerous part of doing this is that we are not choosing to attract better things to ourselves. We are just, if you will, proverbially playing bumper cars with other people. We're just out there and everybody who's on the same autopilot is just bumping into each other, and nobody is thinking, I'm going to consciously create this for myself today, and then seeing it as if it's done and moving into that place of gratitude of having it done. Most people just operate on that autopilot of unconscious creation. What's dangerous about that is you view yourself as a victim of what's happening around you, instead of the fact that you can actually shift it. You can actually change it by changing your rules. So let me give you an example. If you are in a relationship with another human being, you can change the energy of that relationship by just changing your energy around it. I know that sounds like a very big statement, and most of the time when I coach couples and I start off with saying this, they start laughing and they say, I don't see how that's possible. But when you are unconsciously reacting to each other, whether it's a significant other, a boss, a child, there becomes a very unconscious pattern of response. And you two or three or five, however many people are involved, play into it with each other. When you start consciously creating and you say, I will no longer participate in that, you become a force to be reckoned with, because no one can shift you. No one can push your buttons. You know, one of my favorite mentors in the whole world, Dr. Wayne Dyer, is famous for saying, it's not their fault for pushing your buttons. It's your fault for having the buttons they push. And the first time I heard that many, many years ago, I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. That is so hard to hear. Because we want to make the other person wrong. We want to make somebody else responsible for our creations in our world. We want to say, well, this didn't come to me. This is because of her, or this is because of him, or this is because of them. It is imperative, though, in order to shift your world and get to that thriving self that you want to be, to recognize that you have the ultimate power. No one else has this but you. But you have to go from unconscious creation to conscious creation. And in the process of that, you have to take responsibility for how you feel. And you have to take responsibility consciously for saying, I choose not to have that be a button anymore. I choose for that not to go in this direction. I choose for this to be better. I choose to be better. You have to step out of the darkness and into the light and see yourself as having the power to do that. And when you stop resisting and you just change your energy, everything around you changes. You know, we've seen this all. If I have any fans out there who have ever watched Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, this is the crux of everything that he does with training dogs. Because he'll say to the owners, well, it's not really, he helps the dogs, but he rehabilitates the humans, right? And the problem is that humans don't necessarily recognize their role in it. So when he gets in there, he tells them all, well, it's your energy. It's your energy. So the dog got in one fight on the street, and now the person walking the dog is panicked that the dog's going to constantly fight, and they show up a certain way and they hold the dog really tight, and energy transfers. That's the big thing. Like I'm going to pound this into your heads as you listen to me. Energy is everything. everything. And it always comes out in our emotions, our beliefs, everything that we do, our actions. It's all about that behind the scenes energy. So when you hold that leash tight, you're transferring energy to that dog. And then that dog can't be calm because they're just receptors. They're just putting it out there. Well, so are other people in your world. So when you start to show up a certain way, the pattern is now complete. So conscious creation is you deciding that you are not going to engage in that. Does that make sense? You have to realize, I no longer choose to engage in this. I will no longer live unconsciously. I'll no longer walk by and not notice all the little things. I will no longer allow myself to stay in a place where I am just completely and totally unaware of what's going on around me. And then you start to wake up, and then you step into conscious creation. So this is the first step. So today, practice it. Practice saying to yourself, I'm going to be conscious of my actions. I'm going to be conscious of the things that I do. I'm going to be conscious of my thoughts. And I'm going to change the way I show up. I hope you all have an amazingly blessed day, and I'll see you tomorrow.